Howdy y'all, I am Ice Gold, and today I've got some real interesting intel to bring to you about the world of Darkmoor that is coming up and is set to be released this fall. Now, Darkmoor has been, it kind of came out of nowhere, like earlier this year. Of course, I broke the news first, because of course I did, because, I also just read off of what the Atmoplex said on Twitter, but sticking to that trend, I will be reading off of what the Atmoplex said on Twitter once again for this video. But yeah, overall, just Darkmoor, it was a little surprising to see that we were coming back here after having gone here for the 4 dungeons, but at the same time, it feels totally natural, especially given what we now know about the storyline in Darkmoor. So, we've got some interesting stuff to cover for this video, because the Atmoplex, major spoiler warning, like the biggest possible spoiler warning I could possibly give, because the Atmoplex posted to Twitter the other day when the this most recent patch came out. They said that they had found the files for every single new zone, every single new quest. Not every single new quest, I don't think. I think they're missing some, but the files for so many things, but more importantly, they have the files for the storyline of Darkmoor, like the play-by-play of the quest line. So I will be reading the first bit of dialogue from this, and if you're really interested in checking out just what Wiz has got cooking for the world of Darkmoor, I would recommend going to the Atmoplex's Twitter to check this out. I will leave the link in the description. But again, colossal spoiler warning, because it is like the overarching plot of the whole world, and obviously launches the overarching plot to Arc 5. But let me tell you right now, the plot to Arc 5 is looking crisp. It is looking good, and I'm happy with where this is going already, and I hope things don't get flanderized like they did with Arc 4 and all that. Like Caramel, Novus, and Wallaru were just sort of all over that, and this I'm optimistic about. I'm very optimistic about the direction that the storyline is taking for this new world of Darkmoor. So without further ado, let me start reading, and I'll also give you who I think is saying each line. It's not that hard to tell, I'm gonna say, but yeah, we're gonna go over it. So, to kick off, Darkmoor quest text, unsorted story spoilers. The tutorial tip comes from Fitzhugh. Scholar Wizard, please report to the Arcanum for some fool thing or another. And then you get to the Panopticon and you talk to him, and he says, "Oh, look who it is, our latest scholar." "What? I said nothing of the kind. Wherever do you get such notions? Now you are needed for some..." And then Sybil interrupts and says, "Death, death, and danger." And then Fitzhugh comes back and says, "Yes, obviously, that's what we always need you for, but it wasn't the plan this time. Still, best see what the tree wants. Then go to the old one's office for your induction ceremony." "No, there isn't an induction ceremony. Go talk to the tree." But, yeah, this first scene confirms that we do in fact become an Arcanum Scholar. So, wow. It was probably going to happen eventually, but still, really cool to see that. So, alright, let's continue reading while I wait for this loading screen. Sybil says, "Only a nightmare, or was it a memory? But it has not happened yet. So, yeah, a recollection of tomorrow. Perhaps, Wizard, if it happens, forgive him. He only knows what is, and dreads what may be. He dreams as you all dream, and forgets upon waking. Sometimes, in fear of the night, we embrace the darkness." And then somebody says, "Surprise." Oh, just me saying it. "I hate you all." I'm guessing this is the Cabal coming in. Like, I don't know, Baba Yaga? Or, surprise! "Oh, just me saying it. I hate you all." And then Ione, this is definitely Ione, comes in and says, some things need not be said. And then, I'm going to say this is Ignis, saying, aye, but 'tis no less heartening when they are. And then Ione, and Wizard, your actions have said more than words ever could. You came from nowhere, and you shaped the spiral for the better. Actually, that might be Xander. I don't know yet. Either way, this next one is definitely Ione. You pulled us from our isolation, our eternal reverie, and made us participate in the worlds again. Showed some of us our folly, and others their responsibility. I'm sure there's other characters saying those two lines. And then somebody else will say, and that's why Ione suggested we give you a new title, one worthy of your role with us here. Ione says, that's right, Wizard, you are now a scholar like us, the scholar of applied magics, our leader in the field. Whatever new threats we face, mysteries we uncover, or dangers we must overcome, we know you will. And then an alarm starts sounding. Ooh. And then, I don't know, I'm going to assume Kyburn says, what is that horrible noise? And then Ione, it sounds like an alarm. Have we ever had an alarm before? And then Kyburn will say, or no, this isn't Kyburn. I think this is Tarek saying, it isn't common. It seems to be emanating from the lower decks. Kyburn, I may need your help. Yours too, Wizard. Come on, I'll show you the way. We can take this lift to the lower decks, which leads to the Arcanum's Wingeon. Interesting place. And Power Core. It's probably a false alarm, but you cannot be too careful. So, Scholar, you ready to apply some magic? And then I'm assuming you eventually get to the lower decks, which, per the Atmoplex, has also said it looks exactly like what you're looking at right now, but I guess without all the people in it. So, yeah. I'm thinking what's ending up happening is... Okay, where would they even fit this in? Because I thought it would, like, be under here somewhere, and you could maybe see it through the glass, but I don't know. I just see like a galaxy down there. But anyway, the lower decks are going to look like this, of course, with the glaring exception of that, the musicology office, the old one. But yeah, the lower decks are going to look like this, and it's just going to be like a carbon copy, pretty much. So what else? All right. There seems to be the trouble. There's a whacking great hole in the wall. But how, and why, and who? And I imagine it's like Tarek and maybe some Kabbalists in here saying, probably just sky debris. You, more than any of us, should know it's impossible to find the Arcanum. Guess something got on board after all. Started mucking with the electricity. One tick. That's probably Kyburn. There. Well, or maybe the power core just needs some TLC. Have you ever seen that room, Wizard? Oh, it's a hoot. Come along. And then we're being invaded by stick figures. And, yeah, I mean, I'm guessing that's our first fight of the arc. There's probably some stick figure mobs in the lower decks that you have to fight. And then eventually you get back and to the old one's office, and then what's looking like one of the stick figure mobs is going to say, I suppose I was too hopeful. I am but a one card in this game after all. I doubt you will fare so well against the real player. And then Kyburn will say, like, sweet minds of mercy, no wonder our lights were flickering. These stick people have been siphoning power from near every system. I'm not confident that's Kyburn, actually, but don't worry about it. And they've made an absolute hash of it. I can't even tell where they want the power to go. I think I need Kyburn's help. This is probably Tarek or Ignis. I think I need Kyburn's help. This is Celestian Tech, after all. Go out and fetch him for me, would you? And then you get back to the power core, and Kyburn is like, what are they doing in my precious power core? And then, guess who comes along then? You hear a female voice off to the left. I can answer that. And then everybody's like, who are you? And then the Earthborn speaks. Her name is Miranda. Miranda Breyer, proud new owner of the Arcanum. And you must be the famous whiz kid I've heard so much about. Oh, how I've wanted to meet you. But, business first. Speaks into what I'm assuming is a PA system. Attention Arcanum crew, we are the Broken Branch, and this ship is now under our control. That includes engines, life supports, and barracks. Any attempts to resist us, or any attempt to move toward those decks, and, well, I hate to be cliche, but cliches will happen. Now, WizKid, I know you'll want to rush in and save the day, but take some advice from a fellow traveler. Don't. You'll only make things worse. And then somebody else comes in and says, what's going on here? There's a big hole. Tark and Kyburn or whoever, we know there's a big hole. How's the Panopticon? And then, I don't know, Somebody says, safe for now, though this broken branch group has been hitting its defenses ever since you guys left. Any idea why? I don't know. Some lady astral projected in and threatened... Yeah, you heard her. You need to liberate the barracks and life support. I'm going to help Ignis. And then Kyburn walks away. I may have a way to sneak into life support. Meet me by the energy corridor, wizard. And that's probably Xander. Yeah, he respawns outside the energy corridor entrance. The Lumi barracks will be a tad trickier. Come talk to me and Fitzhugh in the Panopticon and we'll see what we can figure out. The broken branch control life support. If we attack the deck directly, they could shut off our airflow. My hope is that if we sneak in through this energy corridor, we may be able to read them first, but be wary, there are dangers. Splendid. They don't seem to have knackered things too badly. So, the Wiz Kid lives up to their reputation. You got the hang of magic quickly, considering it doesn't exist back home. And what would you know of the Wizard's home? Bunches. Life support reactivated. There, you can reach the Panopticon through that door. I will stay here and secure this room. These broken branch cretins have infiltrated nearly all of my archives. This is definitely Fitzhugh. We're barely keeping them out of the Panopticon. What are you doing about it? We need a book on locating Lumies. You want to check out a library book? Am I a joke to you? There are lummoxes rampaging through my records. Stop them. The wizard is right. First we have to rescue the Lumi hostages, or who knows what the broken branch will do to them. Fine. Have you tried Locus Pocus? No, wait, that's easily backtraceable. You probably want to catch the enemy unawares. Very well, there should be something up here. Go find a book that indicates locating secretly via magic and bring it back to me. You sure this isn't us? Maybe some radical offshoot faction? Probably, I don't know, Judge Veg saying that. No, this is something else. I don't know what. We just have to hold the line now and sort it out later. So that would be a no to bailing, right? Obviously. Correct book to Fitzhugh. Takes it back, I guess. Help, I'm too fuzzy and adorable to die. No, you're not? Whoa, this got real quick. Unhand those Lumies, you fiend. Ah, you've come to rescue the hostages. How did you find them? Did he tell you where they were? Of course he did. If he only warned you, if only he shared, then you wouldn't just be another tally on the scorecard of the Jack of Knaves. Cool. I'm guessing that's our first boss. And then eventually, Ione, you get back to Ione and they say, Scholar, I think you will agree that we must deal with this incursion harshly. Now tell me, Jack, who are you guys and why are you doing this? Jack presumably says, we are the pawns that will no longer be played, the hand that will no longer fold, we are the upended board, we are the broken branch. I'm assuming Tara comes back in and says, you're a wackadoo is what you are. Well said. Now, what to do with him? Good idea, wizard. I'll hold him here with the Lumies. You should help Xander and check in with Ione. And then, getting back to the energy corridor, reports from the power core are grim. Kyburn says this broken branch is siphoning energy to the Windjin. And then, honestly, this Arcanum sequence goes on for quite a while. Yeah. Eventually, though, you take the bridge and, I guess, kick Miranda Briar out of the Arcanum. And then eventually you just end up landing in Darkmoor, which is kind of interesting. So, yeah, that should be interesting. I'm excited for it. I don't want to, read through all of this dialogue because I got through barely a third of it with, how long it took me there. But, yeah. One more thing that I should mention is that it may be setting up Bartleby to be a villain. It's a little crazy. Yeah, and I'm not really sure if Bartleby is going to be a villain, because I'm looking through some of this right now, and definitely, read down through here if you are interested. But, yeah, eventually it says, somebody in Darkmoor says, the Eye of History was a gift. It showed him the spiral he was to maintain, and the end result of every decision he made. And then eventually, somebody else comes in and says, but that means he knew. He always knew everything that happened. He knew the Storm Titan would attack Celestia. He knew Dragonspire would fall. And he did nothing. Why did he do nothing? I'm going to assume it was because he was a tree. But, but those aren't the real questions, are they? You know the real question. Why didn't he warn you? You have passed the first night, but have you received the gift of truth? No, don't tell me. The truth is for your shadow. Its reaction will tell you what it means. Now you must wait for a second night. Tonight the shadow won't knock. It enters. It finds you, swarms you, buries you in lies. Interesting. Dispel the false shadows with a touch of magic and tell the real one the truth you have learned. I am an agent of peace. I am the enemy of the worlds. I always win. I am the end of all things. The Emperor sets the rules. All other aspects are secondary to his edicts. For his way is the righteous way, the way that saves us all. So why do you summon us? To seek the Scholomance? That is not his way. We're going to probably find out what the Scholomance is when we actually get the world. If he knows everything that will happen, then he knew this would happen. From the moment we met, he knew the Arcanum would happen. Sybil, he knew, and he never said anything. You have shared the truth with your shadow, but have you accepted it yourself? It is okay to share it now. The shadows know it and what you seek, and they are pondering your request. Unburden yourself. Actually, yeah, why didn't Bartleby warn you about the attack on the Arcanum? Why not tell you about Miranda Briar at all? Though he sets the rules, perhaps the Emperor is not as all-seeing as he thinks. He did have that blind spot for a bit, where his eye was gone, but now that I think about it, how was an all-seeing divine robbed in the first place? He had to know it would happen, and he let it happen. Like the Arcanum. Like Sybil. Like everything here. Why? Please don't tell me the Broken Branch might have a point. The Magician must decide that for themselves while they wait one last night. Tonight, the Shadow will return, and if the Scholomance accepts you, if it wants you, the Shadow will guide you to the path of Balar. You must follow it into the abyss. And then eventually, somebody somewhere says, I am the scion of Bartleby, the servant of the Spiral's benevolent architect. This is probably your Shadow saying it, if dialogue and context clues are any bit useful. His word is my guide, his thought my command. I am his instrument to be played. The tree lies, he obscures, he manipulates. I need not let him. If I am not his blind instrument, what am I? Perhaps not an instrument at all, but a player. Maybe it is time I composed my own song. Perhaps I need not be bound by his rules. You return with an instrument emblazoned with the emblem of the House of Coins. And that is the final line of dialogue that the Atmoplex has posted to date. But I'm assuming that there will be more as we get closer and closer to the release of the world. So, yeah, I mean, it's... wow. This is something. Especially the bit about Bartleby having some sort of foresight and seeing everything bad that ever happens. And they're trying to, like... Here's my interpretation. Alright, let's head to Ravenwood. Let's go check them out. Do you remember at the beginning of Lemuria when... Alright, because he couldn't see Dasein, right? End of Caramel, beginning of Lemuria. He's like, I know not the creature that hounds you, but I know that, you know, he is nothing, that sort of thing. It's like, I can't see him, he exists, you know, beneath my radar. And then when we got to Lemuria, Bartleby was like, I have seen a world, you know, that once existed, a world full of lemurs and all that, but such a world never existed. And then eventually it's like, oh, but it was gone, like from the blip of an eye or something like that. And mind you, this is after the events of Mirage. This is after we get his Eye of History back. So, I mean, all I'm saying, like, I don't think Bartleby is some villain. I think that this is Earthborn propaganda, as funny as that sounds. But I don't think Bartleby is a villain. I don't think he knows all of what's going to happen. I mean, he has the Eye of History, not the Eye of Foresight or whatever. So I don't think he's some all-knowing divine force. And maybe that's just my take, but I really and truly don't think he is like a villain. I just don't see it. And as his scion, of course, you know, we are sort of like, he is our patron, that sort of thing. And so the way I see it, what we're about to get into, especially given that this whole 5th arc is going to be about this Earthborn character, Miranda Briar, I don't know. I don't buy it. I don't think Bartleby is some villain. But it is going to be very interesting to see how this world progresses and to see what, you know, all the dialogue eventually says and whatnot. I have not read the full story myself, although I may do that before too long, because it really is intriguing, and I mean, I'm excited for Darkmoor. But overall, I mean, that is more or less the general premise and start to the world of Darkmoor, as well as some important stuff that we figure out along the way. And I still just don't buy it. I think Bartleby, he's not that guy. He's like, what we're dealing with goes far beyond like Grandmother Raven, Grandfather Spider. You know, it's like all these primal divine forces. I don't think that's necessarily like it anymore. I think we're on to bigger things now, especially with this Earthborn character. And it was like Kansu was saying, you know, Kansu, with all we knew about Kansu from playing through Selenopolis, like, for him to have been scared of her, for him to have been scared of Miranda, this is going to be an interesting arc. I'm going to say that, and I'm really, really excited for how this is looking. So, with that being said, that's all I've got today. Of course, you know, if you are curious and you want to know what else Darkmoor has in store, you know, 2.5 months early, then definitely be sure to check out the Atmoplex's tweet that I will be linking in the description, where they found all of, or not all of, but a good chunk of the story. I don't think this is where it ends. Certainly not, but I guess we will just have to see how Darkmoor ends up looking. So, for now, that is going to be all from me on Darkmoor. Thank y'all for watching. I've been Ice Gold. Be sure to like, subscribe, and leave like 50 comments for the algorithm. My Discord is down in the description if you want to chat with me some more, and I will see y'all later.